When you think of video games, what comes to your mind? Is it you playing a video game with your friends and enjoying it? Is it one of your parents telling you to stop playing so much and that you are rotting your brain? Wait, back up a moment. Rotting your brain? The video games actually affect your brain well. I'm glad to tell you you're in the right place. Today we'll be looking at the main types of video games and the myths and facts surrounding them. There are two main types of video games we are going to be looking at: action games and strategy games. Let's first start off with what has become the most popular video game area in the past years: Battle Royale / action shooter games. Most people's minds go to the heavily popular game of Fortnite, but there are many other games in this category, even games that are precisely like Fortnite but were released before it, such as H1Z1 and PUBG. But how do these type of games affect your brains? Besides being violent, action games include high-speed, perceptual, and multi-load, unpredictability, and an emphasis on processing. Playing these action video games attenuates prefrontal cortex activity and implies that playing video games also affect cognition in the right hippocampus and occipital regions. Studies from natural neuroscience show that playing an action video game can improve visual attention. Another study which also appeared in Nature Neuroscience demonstrated that action games could improve adults' contrast sensitivity, which is essential for driving at night. But violent video games can also an area of concern to some experts in the gaming field. In a study of 45 teens playing a violent game for only 20 minutes lower the activity in the prefrontal sections of the brain. Just 10 to 20 minutes of violent gaming can increase activity in the brain regions associated with arousal, anxiety, and emotional reaction, while simultaneously reducing activity in the frontal lobes associated with emotion regulation and executive control. On the other hand, strategy games have received much positive criticisms on their effect on the human brain, which minor no negative aspects. Research has shown that playing this type of strategy games can improve cognitive development, such as greater sensitivity to contrast, better coordination, and superior memory. Evidence is also present that these types of video games can increase the size and efficiency of brain regions related to visual-spatial thinking. For example, the right hippocampus again is enlarged in long-term gamers and also volunteers following a video game training programs, but video games can also be addictive, and this kind of addiction is known as internet gaming disorder. Researchers have found many examples of functional and structural changes in the nervous system in brains of gaming addicts. Let's move on to another topic. How do video games affect different genders? Brains. Researchers in Stanford decided to study this topic. The researchers designed a game involving a vertical line called the wall in the middle of a computer screen. When the game begins, 10 balls appear to the right of the wall and travel left toward the wall. Each time a ball is clicked, it disappears from the screen. If the ball hits the wall, then they lose space on the screen, making the wall straight. If they click on the balls that get really close to the wall before they hit the wall, goes to the right and gets bigger, and they get more spaces. During this study, 22 young adults, 11 men and 11 women played numerous 24-second intervals of the game while being hooked up to an fMRI machine. fMRI is designed to produce an image showing which parts of the brain are working during a given activity. Our participants quickly learned the point of the game, and the male and female participants wound up clicking on the same numbers of balls. The men, however, wound up gaining a significantly greater amount of space than the woman. That's because the men identified which balls that are the ones that are closest to the wall would help them acquire the most space if clipped. After analyzing the imaging data for the entire group, the researchers found that the participants stored activation in the brain's metacortemic coulombic center. This is the region that typically associated with their board and association. Male brains, however, showed much greater activation, and the amount of activation was correlated with how much territory that they gained. Three structures within the reward circuit: the nucleus accumbens, amygdala, and orbital cortex, were shown to influence each other in much more in men than in women. And the better connected the circuit was, the better males performed. in the game, as video games are still relatively new, the research into their effects is still in its infancy. Scientists are still working out what aspects of games affect which brain regions, and how video games, like they have both positive and negative aspects, and we must embrace this complexity